Today we will be looking at the 10 signs of low-value woman behavior. If you want to try to avoid low-value behavior, this one's for you. A woman who is unaware of her importance and worth is generally referred to as a low-value woman. This type of woman is usually coming from a place of unhealed trauma, which is why a low-value woman is often used and abused in society. If you would like to avoid this kind of behavior, then you have come to the right place. Throughout this video, we will be sharing the 10 signs of low-value woman behavior. But before we get started, please remember to take a quick second and support our content by liking, subscribing, and turning the notification bell on. This helps us create more videos like this for your entertainment. If you're all set, then let's get started. 1. They have low self-esteem. Women of low value give themselves away by how much self-esteem they portray in their everyday lives. They usually avoid stepping forward or being under the spotlight in any way, shape, or form. This is often due to a low-value woman's lack of self-esteem. You heard that right. Low-value women often don't have any sense of self-esteem, and when they do have it, that self-esteem is generally extremely low. While low-value women's issues with self-esteem or the lack thereof can be a defining trait, it's usually not their fault. The society we live in tends to put women in certain boxes of what they can and cannot do, confining them in the long-withstanding limits of patriarchy. Combined with a low-quality background in home life and past relationships, this societal system can weigh women down. Therefore, if a woman lacks the psychological strength to rise above certain living circumstances or societal conditionings, she will be forced to live with a perpetually low amount of self-esteem. 2. They are always yearning for attention. We have just mentioned how low self-esteem affects women of low value. But let us build on that a bit further. The low self-esteem that we just explained in depth leads to a yearning for attention in almost every low-value woman. However, this does not have to be based on societal teachings and norms. The kind of yearning that a low-value woman experiences isn't always towards a male counterpart or a female companion. This rings true, specifically for women who are not looking to settle down with a partner. Sometimes women just want to be given attention from friends and family, looking for praise or even the tiniest of compliments. While this might be a bit odd for the confident woman who only turns to herself for validation, external validation is an absolutely heartbreaking necessity for a woman of low value. Because this is the only way a low-value woman gets to feel better about herself, but not for a long-lasting period. The yearning for attention that she has doesn't exactly go away when a low-value woman is complimented. It only subsides for a brief moment. So if you find yourself constantly looking for some external validation, you might want to take a step back and reevaluate. 3. They always make themselves available. Low-value women have low standards. That's why they are categorized as low value, whereas people who have high standards are called high-value women. When it comes to socializing, these low standards lead women of low value to constantly make themselves available to others, even when they don't feel particularly comfortable about certain things. A low-value woman will disregard all of her own wants and needs to make time and space for others. Even if she has had the busiest week at work, she will not turn down an invitation to hang out because she feels that her social value depends on how much she responds to invitations. She will completely neglect her own needs of spending a quiet night on her own and relaxing with a warm bath, some good food, and a bit of feel-good entertainment, either from a book or the television. Low-value women will continue to push themselves to the ends of exhaustion and not complain. However, this kind of behavior will eventually take a toll on their bodies and have possibly irreversible results. Does this sound like you or someone you know? Please share your thoughts with us below. 4. They don't know when to stop being vulnerable. While being vulnerable is a good trait to have every now and then, You cannot always rely on vulnerability to get you through. Socializing calls for being vulnerable. This is a generally known fact. If you don't put your walls down, you will not be able to let people in. If you are not able to let people in, then you will end up with little to no friends in your circle. This is exactly why low-value women tend to let themselves be extremely vulnerable in all types of scenarios. They think that letting someone see them be that vulnerable gives them the kind of likability that they are after. However, what this actually does is decrease their credibility in the eyes of their contemporaries and peers. Being vulnerable all the time is not necessarily a good thing. It leads to an opening in your armor, meaning it allows people to use and abuse your good intentions or emotional weaknesses. Therefore, if you want to remove yourself from the constant merry-go-round of being a low-value woman, you should know when to stop being vulnerable. 5. They are easily distracted during their dates. Low-value women rely on outside sources to keep them appearing cool. They will always look at their phones to come off as if they have a big social network that they are trying to catch up with at all times. There is an upside and a downside to this kind of low-value woman behavior. The upside is that they are able to protect themselves from talking to people they feel uncomfortable around. Remember how we mentioned the fact that they are always making themselves available? Well, this is a good excuse for them to appear unavailable without having to say anything to people. However, there is a much bigger downside to their phone usage habits, and it's that they don't know when to stop. Even when they are trying to build relationships they actually want to keep, they stay glued to their phones. So if you go on a date with a woman who is always on her phone, instead of giving you the time that a date is expected to give, then run as fast as you can. 6. They are hard to entertain. Women of low value have often not been subjected to quality entertainment, and even if they have, chances are that they have not been able to enjoy it. This is because low-value women tend to overanalyze a lot of things when they are in a public scene. They get so lost in their own notions of how they should be perfect at all times by acting a certain way and sticking to certain phrases when they talk. Therefore, the scenery and the moments surrounding them usually go unnoticed. This is why most people will find it hard to entertain low-value women. One of the ways of being able to tell if a woman is of low value is whether she zones out in crowds and tends to shy away from the party and into a corner. However, this does not mean that low-value women are impossible to entertain. Low-value women usually need a chill and low-key environment to be able to unwind and hopefully show their true selves. You need to be vulnerable with them if you want them to step into their confidence. Only then will you be able to get a smile out of them. 7. They lack passion towards things. Women of low value usually don't get to grow into their true selves until they find the right environment and the right people. Living a confined, stressed-out lifestyle leads these women to lack passion towards things, not because they are unable to show passion, but because they have never been introduced to things that would light that kind of spark in them. Just like we mentioned previously, women of low value often don't know how to enjoy things. This isn't just limited to matters of entertainment. These women can also fail to find passion in small everyday activities, such as working out, reading a book, or taking a walk. Therefore, they also find it hard to relate to other people's passions. Their lack of passion also leads to a lack of empathy and communication. So it's possible to say that this lack of passion causes them to miss out on important potential connections. Do you agree with this? Let us know down below in the comments section. 8. They are incapable of saying no. Saying no is something that a lot of people struggle with nowadays. The struggle with saying no usually comes from a place of low self-esteem or fear of getting bullied. Women of low value are likely to have experienced both of these things, so it's really not such a wonder that they are incapable of saying no. Low-value women usually tend to get uncomfortable when they are in a position where they have to answer a yes or no question. Therefore, it is easier for authoritative figures to force low-value women into submission and have them do things they don't actually want to do. This is why you have to proceed with caution when you are approaching a low-value woman in hopes of building a relationship with them. If you think you might be displaying low-value woman behavior, then you might want to try and reevaluate your answers before you go ahead and agree to things you don't want. If the word no is giving you problems, then you should try coming up with new ways of saying no, or at least postponing the situation. 9. Their body language seems unnatural or forced. Since women of low value are generally stressed out by the amount of pressure that society puts on them, their body language might often come off as unnatural or forced. They might even come across as fake and get shunned from friend groups for that very reason. However, just because a woman's body language seems to be stiff or unnatural does not automatically mean that she is a woman of low value. Posture isn't a definitive quality of low value. It might also allude to a huge amount of stress or exhaustion. So try and take a woman's posture with a grain of salt before chalking it up to low value behavior. 10. They have certain misconceptions about sex and think that it's the only way to maintain a relationship. Sexual intimacy is an important part of healthy romantic relationships. It provides partners with the release of certain hormones that can replicate a feeling of happiness and relief. However, low-value women tend to mistake sex for the only medium of maintaining their romantic relationships, since they don't know how to articulate their thoughts and feelings. So if your partner resorts to sex as a solution, then it might be time to have a chat. And that marks the end of our video. If you enjoyed watching this, then be sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up. Want to be the first to know when we have a new video? Then turn on the bell to be notified every time we upload one. Finally, if you're looking for something else to binge, you can click on the video that's currently on your screen. We'll see you in our next video.